Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to look at the elements that make up a mind map. Now, this lesson is about the individual elements, the structures that we use inside a mind map in this course. Don't worry yet about how we use the software to actually add these elements into the maps, or how we actually use each of these elements correctly and how they interact with each other. We will get to that a little later on when we start building our own maps. For now, this lesson is just an introduction to the elements themselves. Every mind map begins with the central topic. Think of this as the title of a book. The central topic describes what this particular map is all about. So here's our central topic, and in our case, we're going to be making a mind map that describes mapping elements. So there's our central topic. Now the first topics that come away from our central topic are called main topics. Think of these as chapter headings. You break down the information that goes into your mind map into large groupings, and those large groupings are described by the main topic. And as an example, here is a to-do list mind map where we've got 5 main topics, which are family, work, health, school, and holiday planning. If we need to make changes to those main topics later on, because we choose to reorganize our map in a certain way, we can do that very easily. Underneath main topics come subtopics. And subtopics are really the first level of granular information that you put into a mind map. This is where you start to really break down a piece of information or a problem or a task into its component pieces. And subtopics are the component pieces. A subtopic can have subtopics of its own. And in fact, you can keep going, in theory, infinitely. But in practice, you're going to run out of screen space eventually. And here are some example subtopics that fall under the main topics in our to-do list. Now, these are all pretty straightforward tasks. If one of these tasks was a little more complex, then that task could have multiple subtopics as needed. Now, as you can see, once you start branching out with subtopics, the design can become quite complex. So, in our mind mapping software, we have the ability to collapse or expand branches as needed, because obviously you're not going to need to see all of this information at any one time. So for example, in subtopic 2 here, if we were doing a task or working on our map and we simply didn't need to interact with subtopic 2 at this point, we could click this little minus sign and we could collapse this branch. And when we needed to open it, we just click on the number that's here and we expand it again. And that number represents the number of items that are collapsed within this branch. So that's main topics and subtopics. And this entire grouping of information under main topic 1 here is referred to as a branch, or more commonly a node. And in the rest of this course, we will be referring to groupings of information under a main topic as a node. So what other data structures are there that we will be using in our maps? Let's come to main topic 2 and add 3 quick subtopics. Let's say that in our mind map, each of these subtopics has a relationship with each other. They all contain similar pieces of information, or these 3 subtopics are similar tasks that fall inside the same project. In which case, if we wish to, we can summarize this information. And we can add a summary tag that allows us to describe the relationship between these pieces of information. And here's a quick example of how you can use a summary task, in this case in a to-do list, where we've grouped together these 3 tasks by the fact they share a commonality. Now let's expand some of the branches within main topic 1. And again, for argument's sake, let's say that there is a relationship between one of the subtopics in main topic 2's node and one of the subtopics in main topic 1's node. But we don't particularly want to rearrange our map to show the relationship between these 2 pieces of data, but we do want to emphasize that there is a relationship. In which case, we will add a relationship arrow. And a relationship arrow is how we can highlight relationships between pieces of information in a mind map that don't necessarily sit in the same branch or the same node. Now say there's a relationship between main topic 1 and main topic 2, and we want to categorize that in our map so we can see that immediately. What we can add is a boundary. And a boundary, as the name implies, is just a line that goes around related items in a mind map. And at this point, there's only one more item we need to add. This is a floating topic. Now you can add a floating topic for any reason you wish. Generally, floating topics are used to include uncategorized information in a mind map. You might be working away and a piece of information or a question or a task will occur to you that you want to incorporate into your mind map, but you don't particularly want to do that immediately. You'd like to do that at a later time, when you have the time to do so. In which case, you can add a floating topic and then you can add your information there. And that is it. That is the very short list of elements that we will be using to compose all the different mind maps that we'll be looking at in this course. We will be using central topics. Under our central topics come main topics. Under our main topics come subtopics. We can use summaries. We can use boundaries. We can use relationship arrows. And finally, we can use floating topics. Now don't worry too much about remembering all of these particular items at this time. Trust me, by the time we've gone into this course a little bit, this will be second nature to you. As always, thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next lesson.